Dobry den,
Zdravejte!
and welcome back to our little Bulgarian adventure.
We're progressing through April, and this week it's Easter.
It is Easter here in Bulgaria this week. I know it was last week in the UK, but we have it this week.
Yes, so today is Good Friday, if you're watching it today. Does that make sense? Probably not. Yes. But yes, this is Easter weekend. It's the different calendar used by the Bulgarian church in Bulgaria here. So yes, we're working on, I think, the Orthodox church calendar, which makes this week Easter.
Yeah. It's been quite a busy week in our village, hasn't it?
It has, yes. How did it start?
It started last Saturday.
It did.
When we had our annual visit from the local village girls.
Yes, it was Lazarovden, which is the feast day of St. Lazarus. When the young girls in the village visit the houses, they sing, they dance, they
wish us health.
Health, happiness, prosperity, possibly fertility, let's hope not. 5's enough, let's face it.
Yes, even on the dog front we don't.
No,
we should be safe now, all our animals be neutered.
But so they came round and well, this is what they did.
Yes, it was lovely getting our annual visit from them, wasn't it?
It was. Apparently, we're the house that gives out the stickers.
They have a lot of things going on this week. We've discovered this website, well, Facebook page actually.
Yeah.
For the Czyteliste in Macaria Polska, and they're updating it regularly with news of what's going on in the village centre. I think yesterday they had an egg painting day in the village square. But for anybody that wants to go and have a see what's going on down there, we'll put a link in below.
Yes.
I'm sure you can do that.
I'll give it a go.
Unfortunately, after Saturday, we didn't have that good of weather the rest of the week.
No, I mean, Saturday was a bit chilly, but at least it was dry.
Yeah.
But we've had a lot of rain this week.
Which is great for the garden.
Oh, it's great for the woodland, it's great for anything that grows.
Yeah.
It's suddenly taken off.
Not so good for us out there, all the doggies who've gone through various different coloured coats this week.
Yes, Hamish, who usually is white, has gone from white to brown to grey to brown, back to white again.
Yes.
So,
and we've discovered that Winston is definitely our cleanest dog.
Yes.
He seems to stay remarkably clean no matter what the weather's like. But then he doesn't go paddling in the puddles.
Far too sensible for that. Yeah, so it's not been the greatest week outdoors.
But that's allowed you to get on with
tiling the floor of the kitchen.
Yes.
How difficult can it be?
We did have Adam's usual first day on any job where he hates it. And he doesn't know what he's doing and he hates doing it. He's never doing it again. But that did only last for the first day.
Yes. I'm still not a big fan of it, but I'm getting slightly better. Anyway, this is what I've done. Before we start this week's main project, I'll bring you up to date with where we are. We've got the walls plastered and painted. This is that particularly nasty wall by the window, which is now looking actually quite good. The ceiling has been plastered a couple of coats of plaster and paint. It's probably the best thing I've done so far. I'm quite pleased with this one. The walls are plastered and the top half has been painted. That's the part that's going to be visible. You can probably notice that the distribution boxes have got their caps on. So anything above 1.5 metres off the floor is now finished. The one exception is the bit by the top of the stairs here. I put the first coat of plaster onto the plasterboard around the top. I'm letting that set up so I've got a solid base that I can actually put plaster onto. But we're leaving that until after we've done this week's project, or to run in conjunction with, we're not sure yet, but that's not the main thrust of what we're doing this week. You can see we've left the bottom half of the walls fairly unfinished. This is because it's going to be hidden by cupboards, by shelving units, that sort of thing. The worktop will go across there as well. I've yet to move the plumbing, but that's all part of the next phase after this week's job. This week's job is tiling the floor. Now I've checked the floor with a straight edge and it's pretty flat. It's certainly flat enough to tile on top of. There are some cracks, but they'll fill up with tile adhesive. I think that'll be okay. The first thing we have to do is roughly lay out a portion of the tiles to see how the pattern looks, where we want to start, where we want to finish. So that's what we've got to get on with next. After moving tiles backwards and forwards for a bit, we've decided on this pattern. It's offset running the length of the room. This should give us a nice random looking pattern. The most strength on the floor from the tiles where the joints aren't running in straight lines up and down the room. What I have to do now is mark out a grid for where I'm laying the tiles, and that will bring me up to the point where I'm ready to actually start laying them. I've finished marking out the rough grid of where the tiles are going. It's just a guide for when I'm laying the tiles, so I know I'm not going a million miles wrong as I lay them. It'll all be covered up once the tiling's done as well, so it's just there as an assistance for me. Hopefully it'll make things a bit easier. I've got various tools to help with this particular process. I've never laid floor tiles before. I did some wall tiles about 30 years ago, but I'm not quite sure I can remember how I did that. But I've got my rubber mallet, I've got my trowel for making the ridges in the tile adhesive, a couple of knives, filling knives just to help move the stuff around, 3 spirit levels and a jug of water to wet the floor before I put the tile adhesive on it. I'm told this gives me a little bit longer before it kind of starts setting up and drying out the adhesive. The other thing that I'll be using is this tile levelling system. You'll see it as I go along. If you want to know how these work, there's loads of really good YouTube videos, which is where I learned from. I'll be using them just to try and get my floor as level as possible. It's not for levelling the floor, it's for levelling the gap between the tiles, but if they're level, then your floor will be presumably quite level as well. We'll find out. I'm going to be starting at that end. It's the end with the least foot traffic, or actually no foot traffic. So I can practice up there, get my bearings. Also, most of these ones around the edges and at the back will be fairly hidden by cupboards and things. So if I make any serious mistakes, they'll be hidden. All I've got to do now is mix up the tile adhesive and I'm ready to go. That's the first 7 tiles in place. You can see how the levelling system works. The yellow bits go between the tiles and the green bits are wedges which pull the tiles kind of in line with each other. They seem to have done their job. Now the fun bit is when you remove them and you use a rubber mallet, you basically just break them off. So I'm going to give that a go. So now they're broken off, that's what you're left with. The tile's set with the space for the grout to go in. I gave a bit of a brush down all of each seam and also a dig out with a filling knife just to remove any bits of adhesives and make room for the grout when it's grouting time. But they're solid, they're spaced, they're level, not bad. That's half a box of tiles, just another 7.5 to go. So the floor is going down now. We've got about half of the room covered. It's slow going, but I am slowly speeding up. Again, work is being inspected. It appears to have passed. Now John's inspecting, and it seems to have his seal of approval. Hopefully all the cats will get to love it. We'll find out. I think it's fair to say this is taking longer than I thought it would. So after 2 full days of tiling, I've now almost finished all the complete floor tiles laid across the centre of the floor. My next job is going to be going around the edges, cutting the tiles to size, fitting them in place. I've got a bit of edge stripping to do along the top of the cellar stairs there, but that gives me a chance to use my new toy, but I'll show you all that next week, so that's where we're going to leave it for now. So Lynn's hopes for a kitchen by the end of April are still on track. We're hoping so anyway, but doing the floors allowed me to buy a new toy, which I'll show you next week.
Thanks to your mum.
Thanks Mum.
Who's funded half of it.
Yes.
With your birthday present money.
So yes, I'll show you that in operation next week. So you'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think we'll have next week. We are due to, well, we're due some nice weather now for the next couple of days.
Yeah.
It's beautiful here today. So we should have a bit more gardening, which is, so the rain has resulted in everything in the garden growing at least 6 inches in the last 3 days.
Yes, the strimmer must come out next week.
Yeah, we've definitely got parts of our land that are looking quite lush at the minute.
Lusher than they should.
Lusher than they should.
Yes.
Well, I don't know about that.
But the woodland is coming along nicely. It's looking quite lovely. But we'll show you that next week.
Yeah, we'll have a tour around the garden.
Yes. Good news in the greenhouse.
Yes, some seedlings have started coming through. Whee!
Not all of them yet.
No,
but there is hope.
Lots missing, but there are still some there. Raspberry bushes are coming on well.
Rather bizarrely, the seeds that you planted outside,
Have also come through.
they've all come through.
Yeah.
So
Just the ones in the greenhouse.
the greenhouse is obviously slowing stuff down rather than speeding it up.
I mean, we say greenhouse, it's not really a
It's not
greenhouse,
really,
it's
no.
just one of those little plastic tent things,
Yeah.
but maybe that's the problem.
Possibly. We don't know.
No, we're not experienced enough at growing vegetables to
Not
know
yet.
that.
If you want to know how to grow veg, watch us in about 5 years' time.
We may be a bit better at it by then.
So, I don't think there's an awful lot more to tell you this week.
No, I say it's been fair, we've been just meandering on, doing our pottering around, doing a bit of spring cleaning.
Yeah, I appreciate my knees now. They were taken for granted until I spent 3 days on them. But that's just the way it goes. It's one of those occupational hazards. I do stuff on the ceiling, my shoulders hurt. I do stuff on the floor, my knees hurt. I don't know.
It's just getting old.
I think I might be.
Yeah.
Yes. So, until next week, it's time for us to say,
Stay safe.
be well.
Do skoro.
Do skoro.